Now available in paperback and e-readers, Spellbound, A Darker Shade of Black. Get your copy today at your favorite online bookseller. One of my viewers wanted me to make a video about the black men who don't fit into stereotypes. Now, this brother is from South Africa, and he sent me an email I'm going to take a minute to read to you. He says, "Hi, Sean. The topic is how we can navigate in public spaces, whether it be workplaces or social gatherings, when we don't fit into the stereotypes some people might expect of a black man. For example, though it is not as prevalent here as I'm sure it is in America, the whole thug culture the white American media forced on black Americans, especially the men, is starting to seep through South African media, and I'm starting to see more and more of us feeling the pressure to convert to this thug culture because it's being presented as cool in American media, which, because of how powerful America is as a nation, many other countries try to listen, mimic, and copy. Personally, I'm not into the whole thug gangster culture and realize how destructive it is to the image of black people around the world through the education issues you and other YouTubers like Jibu2786, who we've also followed for some time, have provided. As this culture seeps into other nations, he fears the negative effects it will have, especially on a black man like myself, who, to remain as an individual with my own personal likes and dislikes and hobbies, having to feel I need to change in who I am to fit into a stereotype. I'm hearing more and more little stories about things here in South Africa of black men being shamed by both black men and black women for being lame and nerdy and not being gangster enough, and also seeing, with time, more and more black South Africans using the N-word, which is something which has really no place in the context of our country. Even though we have racial issues, the N-word was never something that existed here during the apartheid conflict, but this, of course, is now here due to the influence of American media. I think, to summarize, the main essence of my topic request is, how can a black man who doesn't fit into negative stereotypes he's expected to fit into navigate public spaces without being shamed for different or out of line? Is it best to ignore it but risk building up having an emotional outburst later, or is it best to speak up immediately when there is an instance of when you're being shamed for not falling into a stereotype? Secondly, how can I, as a black man, on how falling into certain stereotypes be more harmful than good without letting them I'm going to rephrase the second question. Secondly, how can I, as a black man, educate my friends and other black men on how falling into certain stereotypes can be more harmful than good without letting them know I'm insulting them personally? Well, this is something I have run into in my own life here in America, and it's something I've been dealing with ever since I was 12 years old. So I know all about how people try to make everybody fit into the black box that is acceptable to white people, and I went in depth on this in my novel Spellbound. And it seems like that the whole spellbound culture that was a part of America, from what this brother in South Africa is saying, is now starting to head to African countries, and that whole mindset of everybody being the same kind of black is seeming to become an international thing, because it looks like your Madison Avenue and Hollywood are trying to poison the minds of young African males the same way it poisoned the minds of young African American males here in America. Because if they're trying to push this thug culture on African males, especially those in South Africa, this shows us the whole global impact of white supremacy on the black mind. Because the whole point of promoting this media is to promote a stereotypical image of black men that makes white racists feel comfortable and makes them feel comfortable about the place of the black man in the world and the black woman in the world. The whole point of this type of media is to create a smooth world for your white supremacists, where they can see the black person at the bottom and they can see them participating in bottom-feeding behaviors that are basically repackaging of old racist stereotypes from the antebellum South. Because the thug culture is nothing more than a repackaging of the minstrel and the minstrel images, such as the black brute, the minstrel, or the coon as some people call it, and other destructive stereotypes such as the Jezebel or the sapphire. All of these narratives and images are designed to degrade the black image and take black people off the road of black empowerment and black elevation, and get them focused on being the stereotypes that white racists feel comfortable. And the way they do that is by using this advertising in Madison Avenue and Hollywood to promote the romanticization of these kinds of images of your gangster rappers and your thugs. And they do this to make you buy into these stereotypes and make you believe that this is cool. But this is not cool. This is just somebody's idea of what it means to be black, and it's a false idea that has been pushed in the mainstream media, and it's been pushed by entertainers who are looking to go out here and do the short-term dirty work of the white supremacist so he can profit off these black people when they wind up dead or in prison at their expense, because his whole goal is to keep black people from going out here and building their own and building something that can compete with his economic system. So that's the main reason why they create this type of media. Now, how can a black man who doesn't fit into those stereotypes go navigate public spaces? This is something I have a lot of experience in, and the only way you're going to be able to navigate those public spaces is if you have the confidence to go out here and be yourself. Because when you go out here and you have that confidence to be yourself, you're not going to really get upset at most of these people who want to shame you, because I've dealt with that since I was 12 years old. And after a while, you just stop caring about what they say, and you're going to be your version of black. This is something I had featured the Matilda Crowley character in Spellbound dealing with, and she just started to be herself. And the whole thing is, she just decided to just leave certain social circles of black people and then go and get involved with a different group of black people. That's another way you can go out here and navigate those situations, is by starting to pull yourself away from these kinds of toxic people who have bought into these stereotypes, because these are the type of people who are going to bring you down, and you need to be with people who are going to be about the same things you're going to be about. Because these people, once they start talking about all of this stuff is so-called real, there's nothing much you can do for those people, because they are stuck in the whole Spellbound mindset that I talked about in my novel Spellbound. They're trying to be the black that's acceptable to white people. They're trying to fit into the stereotype boxes of black that are acceptable to white people, and they're not trying to be the black that you and I know is black, because what the black experience is richer and more broader than whatever these white supremacists have put out here with this thug culture and this gangster culture. It's a lot bigger than that, and these people don't really understand how broad and wide the black experience is. And this is something that you're not going to be able to sit down and explain to them, because they are just so caught up in this media. Some of these people are just going to have to learn the hard way. But you have to have that confidence to go out here and stay yourself, because when you go out here and stay yourself, you are representing what blackness is and what blackness means to you. So that's what I did over the years. Ever since I was in junior high school, I was out here just being who I want to be. And yes, some people would see me as a nerd because I go out here and I was reading comics, or I was out here playing video games or collecting action figures, but I wasn't afraid to be myself, and I'm not ashamed to be myself, because as I saw it, these were not white things. I mean, I have been collecting comic books and playing with action figures since I was 4 years old, and collecting action figures since I was about 14 years old. So I've been doing this stuff for over 30 years, and there was nothing white about it. I mean, black people, again, our experiences are richer and broader, and we cannot allow our people to put us in a box so that they can go out here and seek white validation, because that's all the guys who want to go out here and talk about being a thug is. They want to fit into that black box that's acceptable to white people. But you have to have the confidence to go out here and say, I'm going to be who I want to be, because the whole point of having freedom of expression, which is something people fought for, not only here in America with the Civil War, but the people in South Africa fought for, is the right to have freedom of expression, to be who you want to be. And there's nothing to get angry about it. It's just to let people know, I'm going to be who I'm going to be, and my real is just as real as anything else out here. And I'm not going to allow myself to become a stereotype. I'm going to be the man I want to be. And if you don't like it, then you just don't have to hang with me. And that's what I did. I just walked away from those kinds of people and walked to my own road, because I roll solo these days. But I would rather be alone than be with a bunch of people trying to make me fit into a black box that is filled with stereotypes, so that they can feel like they can get some acceptance from white people. Now, secondly, how can you, as a black man, educate your friends and other black men on how falling into stereotypes can be more harmful than good, without letting them know you're insulting them feel like you're insulting them personally? Well, the whole thing is that you give them videos like I produce, where I talk about there's no such thing as a thug, and that's how you can help educate your friends. Or you can go give them a novel like my Spellbound, which gives you the darker shade of black. That type of media can help people understand the type of stereotypes they're falling into, and help them avoid falling into those stereotypes. Now, if you go out there and refer them to my content, it may help them not feel so bad. And there are other content creators out here, guys like Mr. Superboy and David Carroll and many others, who will try to explain how this thug culture is completely fake, it's completely made up, and it's just something that is designed to keep black men and black women from going out here and actualizing their potential, and going out here and looking to go out here and build businesses and build families and go out here and compete against whites and non-blacks. It's because a lot of black men out here don't understand that many of these stereotypes are designed by white racists, and they are designed to keep black men and black women from going out here and seeking things like education, doing things like starting businesses, doing things like getting married, doing things like starting families, because the white racist, he has an idea of black people. He sees all black people as being in a ghetto. He sees all black people as being on welfare. He sees all black people at the bottom of the world, and it makes him uncomfortable to see a black person who is out here well-dressed, well-spoken, and very intelligent. And that's the thing that scares many of your racists, and that's why they push things like thug culture, because they only want to see those images of black people in the streets and in the hood going out here and attacking other black people, because if they're attacking other black people, they are not competing against white people and non-black people. So you have to educate your friends about how this thug and gangster culture is a social construct created by Madison Avenue advertisers and Hollywood movie studios, and how all of these images are fake and made up, and how many of these entertainers who push this gangster images, like your Ice Cubes, your Dr. Dre's, your Snoop Dogg's, many of these males have practically sold out the black community, and how many of these males, they are out here living well in gated communities and not doing a single thing to help out a single brother or sister in the community, because they have taken the compromise with white supremacy, and your thug is not somebody who is a real person. No, he is a caricature and a social construct, and many of your entertainers push him because they are willing to betray the black community in order to get that money. So it's not going to insult them, it is just presenting them with the truth. And the truth is, many of these thug images you see coming to South Africa that were in America, many of those images are fake. Many of those images are phony. Many of them are designed to undermine black empowerment. And the whole thing is to prevent black people from going out here and being the best black people can be, because the white supremacist wants to see you at the bottom of the world. He wants to see you shooting another black man, killing another black man, because if you shoot and kill another black man, you're not competing against a white man. And that's the whole point of promoting thug and gangster culture in your country. It's all about undermining black people internationally and globally. And there's the whole thing is they want the guys who are out here doing what they need to do, the so-called nerdy guys, to not be the ideal. But that was the ideal back in the 40s, back in the 50s, when black men controlled the image of black men. Black men were all about excellence. Black women were all about class. And we were about this until the late 1960s, when the feminist movement came along, and the black woman sided with the feminist movement and then joined the white leftists to create the welfare state. And then from the welfare state, we got this thug and gangster culture, which was pushed to black communities. And this thug and gangster culture is not something we made. No, that was something made by white supremacists, because the white supremacist does not want anybody black to compete here in America or in African countries, because they know that if we start to compete, we will dominate, and that is the fear that they have. So you have to explain to your friends out here in a tactful way that this gangster culture is not you. This is something some white racists made up, and it is something made to keep you from competing. Now, if they don't want to hear what you say, you can direct them to many of my videos where I talk about there's no such thing as a thug, and you can direct them to my blog where I say there's no such thing as a thug, and you can also direct them to my novel Spellbound, which deals with the whole idea of being spellbound and seeking that whole image of being the black that is acceptable to white people. So if you want to learn more about how many of these people try to destroy black identity by trying to make us fit into the black box that is acceptable to white people, you can pick up my novel Spellbound on Amazon.com in paperback and Kindle format. You can also find it on Smashwords, the iBookstore, and Google Play. And if you want to request a video like this young South African brother has done, you can send me a donation to PayPal or Cash App by clicking the link in the description box. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe. Now available in paperback and e-readers, Spinsterella. Discover the dark side of love in this goth and lovely romance with Spinsterella. Get Spinsterella in paperback and e-readers at your favorite online bookseller today.